Well, now the story in the 10 was what place did you finish in the 10,000?
I was second.
Okay, you were second to Frank, and then Jack was running in third, and John Anderson, the son of the Eugene mayor, ran him down over the last lap. Is that correct?
In the last 40 yards of the race.
Oh my gosh.
The storyline was that it was a very hot day,
Yeah.
and I knew that I had to pick a pace that was very sustainable, and it was much slower than everybody else. I was in last place for a mile.
Wow.
And then the heat and the faster pace that Frank had set got to the runners. And so
Yeah.
I passed one runner and then another. And I passed Jack with about a mile to go in the race, ended up finishing second just behind Frank. And we waited for Jack to come around. He was clearly in third place coming off the final curve. But
Wow.
but the crowd was going crazy for the hometown favorite, John
Yeah.
Anderson.
Yeah.
And all power to John. He gave it everything he had, and he passed Jack. But what happened was that Jack was so exhausted that he was weaving. His legs had given out on him, and he bumped John as John went by. And an old AAU official disqualified Jack. I've never seen it in the 10K before or since, but
Wow.
and
Wow.
it didn't affect the race. And John went up afterwards to his credit and said, "I have no protest in this," but that AAU official did not back down. So Jack was out of the results. And the
Wow.
significance was that the marathon that year was run 1 week later.
Yeah.
And had I run in the marathon 1 week later and qualified, I would have given up my position in the 10K so that Jack could be in the 10K and I could be in the marathon. That was no longer possible.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I paced Jack through, and
Uh-huh.
there were two things going on. One was he didn't think he was going to have to run the marathon, so his longest run was only 17 miles. And
Okay.
at that level, that's not enough.
Yeah.
The other problem he had is he was terrible at pacing. That's what got him
Okay.
into trouble in the 10K. And
Okay.
so I became the designated pacer for Jack. We
Yeah.
were in about 100th place at mile 1, and we just
Wow.
steadily moved up. By mile 5, we were still in 61st place. And
Wow.
I was on a mission to run a pace that both of us thought was sustainable.
Hmm.
And I stayed within 6 seconds of that through 15 miles. And by
Wow.
that time, by 15, we had moved up to 6th.
Wow.
And so we kept counting them off. And at 21 miles, we moved into a tie for third place. And
Wow.
I have to tell you two things. First of all, I just enjoyed so much helping the founder of our club and my really close friend, Jack. And I
Sure.
have absolutely no regrets for giving up my race to help him. But
Yeah.
I had to be a father confessor and a cheerleader and provide all types of lookout duties to make sure nobody was coming up on us. He kept
Yeah.
asking about that. But we
Yeah.
entered the stadium in a tie for third, and everybody was on their feet thinking that this was going to be a horse race. And I
Yeah.
have to tell you, it was the moment in running that I felt the most power I ever had, because I was the only one in that stadium that knew how that race was going to finish. So I
Now,
just ran.
did the officials give you any trouble about it at all? You didn't
Not at
try to
all.
tie, right? Okay, because you.
Not at all. We ran right together until right at the finish line. I just backed off so that Jack could coast across. We actually got the same identical time, but
Mhm.
he had coasted ahead, and so he was given the official third place.
Okay.
And what was interesting about that, Larry, which you'll appreciate, is there was all types of criticism from the track and field experts about how terrible it was to schedule the marathon only a week after the 10K trials,
Sure.
and that this was going to produce terrible results in Munich and so forth and so on. But Bill Bowerman thought that staging it that way was going to be able to tell whether somebody could come back on a double or whatever it
Yeah.
was that they were dealing with. And it turns out that Bill was right, because in 72, we had the highest finish that any country has ever had.
Yeah.
3 in the top 10.
Yeah.
First, fourth, and ninth. Jack was ninth.